good night, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of HELLION ARTSHOW. I'm back after taking a break for a couple weeks. But as y'all know, I've been crazy busy. But it is good to be back. And I'm here today with Gary Martin. Hello. Thank you for joining me today. And we will be talking about your awesome art book that is live now on Fund My Comic. Can't talk tonight. Brush with Destiny, the ink art of Gary Martin is the book that we'll be talking about, and it looks really, really awesome. Thanks for joining me. I'm looking forward to this.
Before we get into that, I have some questions about your intro.
Sure,
Was that you cruising around on that bike?
Yeah, that was me in Taiwan. That's in Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Yep.
And did you miss that old dude in the intersection? You came really close.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Okay, Chad, am I wrong? Did she almost hit some old guy in a crosswalk?
No, on the camera, I guess it looks close, but no, it wasn't close at all.
It looked like you went really close to him.
No. In Asia, you see the way we drive is you don't stop for pedestrians. You time yourself, so you know that if they walk at the same pace, and then they know that you won't hit them. That's how it works in Asia. Yeah. So but there was a lady that cut me off right in front of me, and it was on camera.
A white car.
Yeah. So I will take note of that.
Yeah, I used to be a bicycle racer, and I lived in New York for a while, and riding in Manhattan during rush hour. That was an experience.
Oh, yeah. Every time I go to New York, I just think it's like from my way to the airport to wherever I'm going, I'm amazed I don't get in 5 car accidents. It's crazy. People will pile on the shoulder. I've seen New Yorkers turn 3 lanes of traffic into like 5. It's just normal. And you're like 1 inch from someone's car and they just squeeze past, and it's insane.
It is. That's the word. They make up their own rules. I lived in an apartment overlooking an intersection, and there were accidents in that intersection all the time. And they explained it to me, residents. I had a friend who had a car. Not that many people in New York have their own cars. That they go through red lights, and they think if they just honk their horn as they run the red light, they're okay.
Wait, where is this?
New York.
This is New York?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that was an actual thing, and other people confirmed that to me. So I'm thinking, if you're in the other car, let's say you're in the other car, and you're going through an intersection, the light's green for you, and you hear a horn honk, are you going to automatically think somebody's running the light and stop? No, of course not.
It's like someone, that's ridiculous. Wow.
And so I
didn't know that.
Living in that apartment overlooking an intersection, my art drawing table, was at the window, and I'd hear crashes, and I'd jump up to see the result. And one time I heard this crash. I jump up and I see a Cadillac with a bunch of old ladies in it in the intersection. And then in front of the Cadillac was a tow truck upside down, rocking back and forth. So the tow truck got the worst of these Cadillac maniacs and these old ladies.
Wait, so the old ladies were the ones
that... The old ladies were fine.
Okay, well,
the guy in the tow truck, I would have loved to have seen that accident, to where the Cadillac takes out a tow truck and flips it upside down.
Wow. That's pretty... It must be a center of gravity thing. That is insane.
I don't know. But yeah, New York, they're nuts.
New York is a whole new universe unto itself, right? Can you believe I once wanted to move to New York? I don't know what I was thinking.
Are you a city girl?
Yeah, I grew up in the city. Kind of but a small city. I mean, not in America. But you know, when you're like 24, you think you want to be in the city because that's where things are happening. But now I don't want to. I
You're
want to be
starting
far
to.
away from the city as possible. I mean, I'm not quite like homestead level yet, but I just
Yeah,
want to
you
like
still
not.
want civilization within reach.
Right, right. I'm definitely still. I'm not like wild woman. You know, I need civilization. But hey, I don't need to be in the city because it's insane, and I've grown to detest it. Just peace and quiet is fine. And I think I'll just slowly move further and further out into the wild in the mountains as I age, and I'll
That's
just
yeah,
be
that's what I'm
when
doing.
I endeavor when I'm 80, I'll have like a shack in the mountains, and it'll just be filled with comic paper and drawings and nothing else. And
Yeah,
that's it. That'll be my
you can
life.
let your personal hygiene go out the window when you're in that situation.
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't see anyone, you know.
No.
Plus the apocalypse would have hit by then. We're well on our way to
Oh,
that. So
that's true, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, it won't matter, you know. The
I
sooner
mean,
you get out there, the better.
when I do live streams, I still consider, well, do I need to brush my teeth? You know, it's like, how much grooming do I have to do to be a, you know, I still don't know the
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah, I think as long as it looks good on camera, it's fine. Because honestly, like sometimes I go on camera. I mean, I'm a pretty OCD. I'm slightly OCD clean. I'm like I make my bed every day, which most people don't, and I don't even live with anyone, and I just need to do it. But sometimes I do realize that as long as you look good on camera, it's okay. Like I don't have to get my foundation perfect and all that stuff. So the camera is critical in some ways, but also very forgiving. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I still consider even putting on deodorant. Like that's,
Deodorant? Who needs
yeah,
that
like that's gonna make a difference, you know.
on stream? Yeah,
Yeah,
the chat can smell us from where they are.
right.
Go full Narnar. I'll too late for that. And I need to undo my city girl training, just be as wild as possible. I endeavor to be a barbarian. Well, so are you from New York? Let's talk about
No,
that. Where are you
I grew
from?
up in California, and to break into comics, I moved to New York. And at
Oh.
that time, being around, you know, the companies and going into the office, that was important. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
do that anymore, but when I was doing it, that was essential. And so I lived in New York for about 6 years in Queens, and I would go
Mm.
into Marvel or DC, the office about once a week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. You know, sometimes I kind of wish things were still like the good old days with the comic industry. I mean, in more ways than one, but it seems like so when I was going to art school, it seems like even my professor's generation, they were taught the way you get work is you go to conventions and you show your portfolio, or you go to like the Marvel offices, and back then DC was actually still in New York, but as soon as I graduated, by the time I graduated, things had already changed so much. It wasn't about that at all. It wasn't even about
Right.
showing your portfolio at shows. Editors stopped going to shows. At
Right.
shows, they
They don't
just
do that.
sold
Review
merch.
portfolios. Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, yeah, they don't do that anymore. They don't take open submissions. So how do you get work? Well, I discovered it's just about who you know and who you're chummy with,
Right.
and I think that's a little messed up. I don't
Well, I
think
think
that's
that's
great.
true. I think that's true in most things.
Hmm. To a certain level, but I think the work should come first, right?
Right.
Because there's a certain level of,
Ideally.
well, your work is good, but also I want to make sure like this person can get along with everyone. So it helps to know people in the industry and network, but it's yeah, it just seemed like there was nowhere to even get your work seen by the time I graduated. And I managed after a few years, but then things got all weird, and realized it wasn't for me. But we're not here to talk about me, anyways. So, you were in New York for 6 years. What
6
time was that?
years in the mid to late 80s.
Mid to
So
late
don't
80s.
yeah, don't do the math.
Oh, I'm not. No. No, I'm not. I can't anyways. I'm terrible at math. That's why I'm an artist.
So I started as a background inker, and they called it like an assistant. And so I inked backgrounds and erased pages and filled in blacks and that kind of stuff for guys
Oh.
like Bob Layton and Dick Giordano and people like that. And I got paid, depending on who I was working for and what their inking page rate was, I was getting $10 to $12 a page. And I was really fast.
Wow.
I could do 2 pages a day.
Was that still couldn't have been that much money back then?
No.
No, oh dear.
I
I was like,
qualified for food stamps.
oh god.
It was hard. Yeah, it was hard.
To work in comics. Oh, hasn't never
Yep.
changed.
So that's
Wow.
how I learned. You know, I would go into the office and hang around the editors and bug them for a while, and then after getting to know them and kind of, you know, learning the ropes doing backgrounds, they started giving me full inking jobs, and that's how I broke into comics.
All right. Interesting. Yeah, I think I'd heard that they had people doing corrections in the Marvel offices, but I didn't know they had designated essentially background assistants. I know they
Well,
have
that
it in
was
the
like
manga industry.
up to the inkers, the other, you know, artists, if they wanted to use, like guys like Dick Giordano. He had 2 or 3 background assistants, and he would just ink the figures. So at that time, he got the top page rate, which was his ink rate was $60 a page, and that was the top rate at that time. And to pay someone $10 a page for backgrounds, he could do the pages in half the time and get $50 a page. So he was making a lot more money using background assistants than if he did the whole job himself, and that's why he did it that way.
Interesting. That does make sense. Yeah, that seems like a useful thing to have, honestly. After drawing a few books completely by myself, that seems smart. I don't
Well, the
hear about
trick
people
is to
doing
find
that.
someone that you can trust.
Yes, exactly. That's hard. So
Very hard.
you were the one they chose. You proved yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good position, and I worked on some cool projects. Probably for a background artist, probably the biggest project I worked on. Marvel and DC got together and did a treasury size, you know, those oversized comics of Hulk and Batman, and it was penciled by Garcia Lopez, and I did the backgrounds on the whole thing, and so that get my mitts on Garcia Lopez pages was quite a treat.
That's awesome. Down Go Solo asks, what were some of your early works, Gary?
My very first full I did some like mystery stories, you know, like House of Secrets and stuff like that. And I inked Steve Ditko and Keith Giffen and guys like that in those days. My first full story was on Dave Gibbons' Batman story. And then I got the Blue Devil. That was my first regular series. Started with Blue Devil issue number 2 and stayed on that for a while. And then after that, Doom Patrol and, you know, a bunch of other stuff for DC.
All right, awesome. So, let's see. Don't want to jump ahead too quick. So, how is that still what you're doing? What you've been doing up until now? You've been an inker?
More or less. I haven't worked for mainstream for probably 15 years.
Oh.
And if I'm including Archie and Archie comics in that was, you know, maybe about 10, 12 years ago. Since then, I've been doing a lot of different kinds of things. I've been drawing a comic strip in the American Legion magazine. The American Legion is an organization that works with our veterans and helps them in a lot of different ways, and does fundraising in the community and that kind of thing. And so I got a lot of military type gigs from that. And so illustrating catalogs and promotional things and military contract products. And so that got me into doing military stories for those types of magazines. And I just finished a comic telling Pappy Boyington's story when he was the head of the Black Sheep. There used to be for you in the chat, I know this is before your time, there is a TV series called Baba Black Sheep.
No idea.
Robert Conrad. Yeah, this was a long time ago. So I know that some in the chat will know what I'm talking about. So I just did a 10-page short story of his biography. So those kinds of comic things where I'm inking and illustrating. And aside from that, I do inking gigs every once in a while and then fill in the gaps with commissions. And I was involved with David Williams on Truth, Justice, American Way. And you're probably familiar with that. So I got boxed out along with David. And that whole deal.
That sucks. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, your name, I remember.
Yeah, I was part of that. So that was my introduction into CG projects was T-Jaw, and that didn't go so well. So trying my first crowdfunding is this an art book. And the art book, the goal is to fund a graphic novel that I want to illustrate. Now, I didn't want to jump in my first campaign to be a graphic novel. So this campaign is work that's 99% complete. I thought that would be easier to put together than what you do.
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm thinking of going the same way because I don't like making customers wait, and customers don't like waiting, and especially for your first campaign, having the work complete or almost complete is a really good selling point, just because when it comes to crowdfunding, people get worried about, well, will the books deliver? But
exactly.
So I think that's a great idea. That's awesome. I think someone in Down Go Solo was just asking, were you thinking of working on something else after Brush with Destiny? I suppose you've answered that. Can you give us more details?
Yes, I've been toying around with doing a story of a woman astronaut who gets stranded on Mars, and that's all the story is her trying to survive. And I want to do it backing up a little bit with this art book. The pieces in this art book are a collection of pieces that I've worked on like in the past 10 years or so. And they're either commissions or pieces that I've done for prints to sell at Comic-Cons. And the type of work that I couldn't do in regular comics because of the time involved. I would say at an average, these pieces in the book, like this Batman as an example, took me about 2 days. And there's no way I could spend that much time on a page.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know if it shows up on screen, but like the detail and the hatching, that's awesome. That's really nice.
But this is the kind of the level of work and a detail that I want to do in the graphic novel. And I want it to be a project that, because of crowdfunding, it would allow me to give it 100%. And when you're working for a company and you have a deadline and you have a certain page rate, you can't give it 100%. You have to make concessions. And this is my answer to that, a project where I'm not making any concessions to give it 100%. Ooh, legend, high praise. This
Yes.
piece is a recreation, more of a reimagining of a Bernie Wrightson pencil drawing where he did it like in tones, where when you do when you're drawing with a pencil and you're using the side of your pencil to give the values, the shading, the darks and the lights. That's how he drew this. So I translated it into cross hatching and line
Right.
work. And this was a 4-day piece. It's large. It's like 16 by 20, something like that.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, in case you guys can't see through the YouTube or the screen share, all the grays, that is actually hatching. So it's kind of like screen tones, except he drew it by hand. So
Right.
that's
And
the
and the
that's what
other
we're
thing
talking
is,
about.
yeah, exactly. The other thing is, I'm a brush guy. I'm not a pen guy.
So
So
this is all with brush.
I would say 95% of it is brush.
That is
All the
crazy.
cross hatching is brush. Some of the straight lines on the Oregon, the pipes, I rule um, with a pen, but everything else is brush. And so all the other pieces, like that Batman piece that you showed, that's all brush.
Oh, that is nuts. What kind I think we talked about this when we were I was on, what was I? I was on Graybeards,
On
right?
Graybeards, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of brush do you use?
I use a red sable. I used to use Winsor Newton, but their quality has been very iffy the last decade or so, and so I've been using Raphael's, the 8408s, and I use a number 3. So anyone that wants to know that.
Right. That's awesome. I'm thinking of going back to traditional inking, but I've honestly always been a little brush averse because it seemed like it was it just seemed like I couldn't get very exact lines with it, but seeing you able to get such exact lines with brushwork is encouraging, and I find that just absolutely fascinating.
Well,
Why
the trick is,
are
I'm sorry.
no, go
I was
ahead,
going to say that the trick is, for control, is one, you have to slow down. If you want lots of detail and you want precise lines, you have to slow down. And the other is um, maintaining the ink flow in the brush. Is that for little tiny lines, you have to like wipe down the brush to where there's almost no ink in it, and then that's where you can get the detail work. And so you actually, you might have 5 minutes of ink in the brush, and then you have to go dip again and then wipe some more. And, I mean, it takes longer, but it's more versatile. So you can get, bold lines, and you can get the little tiny hair thin lines as well with the same tool.
Is that, I suppose that's why you choose using brushes, because you can vary the line weights.
Exactly. And that's what good inking is all about, is line weight variety. You can tell new inkers or amateurs by their lack of line weight variety. And a lot of modern pens, a lot of people who ink their own work use modern pens, and they'll use the same pen to ink the whole thing, and there's no variety at all. Here's an example. This Leia, that it's all brush, so even the cross hatching is brush.
Well, do you use any whiteout at all? That's all
I
just
try not to, but I'm human, so I do
right.
sometimes.
Oh, so you are human. I'm just
Yeah.
checking. No, this is absolutely amazing. I love that. Yeah, I think what I use brush pens sometimes, but it's more, that's sort of a modern thing. It's in art school they taught us to use brushes, but that was the problem. It was too slow to have dip and do all the ink control, so I
Right.
found it easier to use brush pens and microns to meet deadlines. But the ink quality, the line quality you can get with brushes is the best, I think.
Yeah, so you just have to put the time in to master the tool. And just like anything, if you want it to be excellent, it's not going to be easy.
Hmm. Yeah, and you've been doing this for many, many
A while,
years.
yeah, a while.
Well, the mastery
We
shows.
won't
That's
do the math, yeah.
it looks like it almost looks like lithographs or like those wood prints,
Well, yeah, I mean that's the beauty with ink, and I like the heavy contrast, like this Thor piece with ink and breaking down your values of white, gray, and black, is that you can create all kinds of depth and textures and it's amazing what you can do with a brush and lots of ink. And this is the kind of work that I want to do in the graphic novel. This level, this level of detail and technique.
Cool. This reminds me of what Rob Hunter is doing. Have you
Yes.
seen
Mhm.
his book, Death Raiders? His art is so, I mean, he's so laid back, but his art is like amazing. And
Yeah,
it's
it
this
is.
super, it seems like the super hard boiled and it's like robots and tons of action. And the art is so much detail and he does it all in ink as well. It's so great. That's cool. I'm glad that you're looking to do a comic your way. I think a lot of people that are going indie or crowdfunding or publishing in the sphere in Comicsgate, we chose to do this because we want to make books our way and not have to just slave over deadlines for a publisher and actually do our dream books and our dream
Right.
projects. So I think that's really awesome.
And most people don't know that page rates in the comic book industry have come down severely over the years. For the last page rate I had for Marvel, which was about, 10, 15 years ago,
Hmm.
was 40% less than it was in 20 years prior to that.
Really?
Yeah, it kept getting lower and lower and lower. The industry kind of changed. Like when I got into comics, there weren't any uh, specialized schools, like the Kubert School. There weren't any art classes that you could take for comics. You kind of had to learn the craft on your own. Now
Mhm.
there's a bunch of trade schools and colleges that churn out graduates every year, and there's no there's no work for them. It's not like older professionals are going to quit so the new people can. And so the thing is, the companies have taken advantage of that, and they will hire new people and pay them less. And so the rates for the older, veterans had to come down too. So to compete with somebody, just graduating, you have to get the same page rate as them.
Right. That's true.
And so
Yeah.
it got to the point to where I couldn't afford to work in comics anymore.
Hmm.
So it was an economic decision more than anything else.
I'm afraid I was part of that problem, though I have now left. It's true though. There's it's I don't know how anyone makes a living going
Right.
into comics. I think the
I
people that
know.
have been there that have a high enough page rate and have established clients that will buy their original art, which is a
Right.
major avenue of income for
Right.
full-time comic artist, those people can make it and some people have made it big, but going in fresh, there's no way to make a living. So either you're still living with your parents or you're working a day
Exactly.
job. And how do you get a whole comic done every month while working a day job? It's an
Right.
impossible equation.
And the other big problem that no one talks about is the consistency of work. Is that, like Marvel and DC, they have a policy of not having an art team work on a book more than 4 or 5 or 6 issues. It's like the old days of art teams being on a title that, run for dozens of issues. They don't do that anymore. It's like 4 issues and you're out. And they bring in a new creative team. And they don't have something waiting for you after you finish your 4 issues.
Yep.
So you do 4 issues and then you're out of work for a couple of months. You're trying to bridge that gap with however you can. Yeah. And how do you, put food on the table? And if you have responsibilities, if you have a family, forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very difficult today. Very difficult.
Yeah, well said. Well said. That's kind of sad. I think there are people out there that would still love to make a living in comics, but you can't do that through Marvel and
It's hard.
DC.
Yeah,
Just
very hard.
especially living in the States, it's not possible.
Right. And like any other entertainment industry, going into it, we compromise because it's our dream. And so we don't mind, like I didn't mind getting $10 a
Mhm.
page because I was working in comics, but that only goes so far. It only goes so far. And unfortunately, the companies take advantage of that. And that's, the tragedy. So enough of that. Here's an
No.
example. This Joan of Arc piece. It's a recreation. This is a straight up recreation of a Wallywood portfolio piece, and I have a section in the book that's just recreations of other people's artwork, like Kirby and different great artists. And Wallywood was one of the greats.
I don't think I've seen this original by him. Is it his drawing?
Yeah, he did a portfolio. It was, I don't even know the subject matter, but he did Joan of Arc. He did Cleopatra. Yeah, well, Wally Wood did Prince Valiant. He helped on that strip. And yeah, Henry knows Wally Wood was one of the greats. And Wally Wood was a guy that, he churned out a lot of mainstream stuff, but he did his own stuff on the side as well. And this was like one of his self-published projects. Was this portfolio?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the balance of the spotted blacks and all the shadows. That's so hard to do.
Yeah, and it makes the piece readable. I mean, you see the layers, and you can make out all the figures, and he was really good at that. And so this, when I say recreation, I'm basically trying to copy everything the best that I can and not put Gary Martin isms in it, but try to do his inking techniques and all of that. And in that process, I learn a ton. And so, even at my age, I still like doing recreations because every time I do one, I come away a better illustrator.
Yeah, well, that's what they teach you in art school. That's why they have you copy the masters, and it's very annoying, but it's sort of an organic way of learning because you can't learn art through a textbook. You have to learn art by practicing and just doing it, and copying people who are better than you or that you admire is a great way to learn.
Yeah, just like sports, you get better if you play against somebody that's better than you.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go. Yeah, this is a portfolio. So Joan of Arc was one, and he did a Cleopatra that went with this. That's the original.
Hollywood Cleopatra.
What else in that portfolio? There was 2 or 3 others that were all this level of illustration.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, that Cleopatra piece is amazing. Let's see. Can I get this one? There we go. Look at that.
That's just one panel. I think there's several other panels in this.
Oh, this isn't there's like, it's whited out.
He used, Wally Wood used a lot of whiteout, but mostly for effect. So you can see like this, he's using it for the smoke to soften the
Yeah.
edges and to give
Oh,
Cleopatra like a glow. See, that looks like a different version.
yeah, that's weird. I don't know what the article that I pulled it from an article. It must say. I have
Huh.
no idea. Weird. Let's see. It doesn't say, but it looks like it has to be just two different drawings.
I
They
think you're right.
are. They are. It's two versions of the same drawing because the background is different.
Okay. Yeah, I've not seen that.
Huh. Wild. You redraw the whole thing. But yeah, that's amazing. Look at all the spotted blacks and the focus that he can get. I think yeah, that's really hard to do starting out, I think, because you're so afraid to cover your detail. But
Right.
once you get over that fear, it's using shadow. Artists who use shadow well, I really admire. It's Mike Mignola is
Right.
one artist that does that really well. I don't draw anything like him, but he is a master of simple composition and just using shadows and spotted blacks. And that's what you have to do in comics because everything is about legibility, right?
Right. And then that comes from understanding in your storytelling visually what's important and what isn't. I tend to be on the opposite end of that. I want to draw everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that can get in the way of storytelling. That if the reader is looking at all the details, they've interrupted the pace of the story. It's like, watching a movie and freeze framing it and just, looking at the art production. And that's, with comics, you want to, tread that line of giving great illustrations, but not giving the reader too much to look at. And I tend to err on the too much to look at. And I think the graphic novel that I want to do, it'll probably be like that, too much to look at.
Well, I'm sure that there are so many artists that put in a lot of detail, but the work is so legible. Like what Rob Hunter doing is amazing. He manages, and Jeff Dara, Mobius, even though Mobius was one of those artists that had drawings full of detail, but there was never a problem with legibility with his work.
Right, right. And that's the trick, is to make it readable.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, we're looking at this piece here. There's tons of detail, but it's completely readable.
Yeah, yeah. It's about contrast, isn't it? Because even though
Right.
there's detail, the smoke framing, I think that's Octavian. The
Right.
caption says apparently that's Octavian. And the and Cleopatra's framed by all these like the black on the table, so she pops
Mhm.
out. Her body is really white. And what I've learned is like contrast, large patches of contrast will draw the eye to will focus the eye towards that area of the drawing.
Right.
And that's clearly what he's doing here.
Yeah, and like I say, Wally Wood was the master of that, and a lot of artists that followed him used his techniques, and even today that we use his techniques without even realizing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me look at. So this is his Joan of Arc piece, and yeah, you can tell the this is inked, but his inking, it's the same drawing, but your inking style is different. And let me go back to this. I love how delicate it is. He added more hatching on top of, like, his composition is already great, but there's a little more texture in the ground and the horses and everything. If you look closely, it's really nice.
I think my inking style is a little more delicate. I tend to put in more detail, and that's just, I can't help it. That's just, people ask me about that. That's just how I roll. Although I wasn't intentionally trying to do that with this piece, like I said, I was trying to mimic what he was doing, and that's probably a Martin-ism.
No, but it looks great. I think when artists have a style, it's never intentional. It's just how
Right.
we see the world. It's a natural thing with how we work. But I think that looks awesome. Let me get a couple of super chats. Barb Rogers from Solar Terror gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. If anybody wants a membership, go grab those. Thank you very much for
Nice.
that, Barb. Yeah, you're the best, Barb. Paul Taylor for Canadian 10. Thank you for the super chat. Hail Reenie, Gary, and chat. Hail! These images are fantastic, Gary.
Hey, Paul.
Do you take them
Thank
from
you.
photos, or are you using your imagination?
I use a lot of photo reference, but that can be a slippery slope if you rely on it too much. Then I have certain goals. I don't want them to be photorealistic. I still want it to look like comic art. But if I'm doing a portrait, okay, here's Gal Gadot, and I want it to look like her, so I have to use, photo reference.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you scroll down to the bottom, the Red Sonja piece.
Yeah.
That
So chat really like that.
I didn't use photo reference on this one. I used it heavily on the Wonder Woman, but not on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Although I take it back, I did Google Roman ruins for the background.
Oh well,
So those
that,
pillars.
that makes sense. I don't think anyone's looking at the background though.
Yeah,
So
you're probably right.
I don't think you have anything to worry about there. Yeah, that's awesome. Look at that hair. Oh my god. That hair is so cool. Now I want to draw hair. Oh,
But that's this piece is from what I can recollect, it's all brush.
wow. Do you have any tricks or tips for when because I see you doing these thin parallel lines, and I
Mhm.
noticed Dale Keown does that too. And I'm like, I think he used tech pens. If he doesn't, he also uses brush, and I'm just going to like give up forever. But like, do you have any tricks towards that, or is it just a practice and focus thing?
I don't have any tricks. I have good days and bad days. I mean, with a brush, it's different than working with a pen or a pencil because you don't feel the contact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My homie can see the background. So, okay. So if you're looking at a men's magazine, you read the articles. Is that what you're saying?
He said he can't see the background. Yeah, what
Oh,
background?
he can't. I thought okay. I'm sorry. I misread that. What was I saying? You got me distracted.
Oh, sorry. It's
No,
I
not
should
you.
be totally...
The chat got me.
You're saying you had good days and bad days with inking.
Oh, yeah. With a brush, you don't feel the contact of the paper because you're just putting the bristles down. And so you kind of have to be in a zone. And for me, some days I think I'm setting the world on fire. I'm teaching everyone what brushing should be.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the next day, I feel like a complete failure why am I inking with a brush? I can't do it anymore. I'm a has-been. My glory days are over. I'm serious. It goes like that. Today was an amazing day. And what I like about inking with a brush is that when you're on, it's joyful. You hear the angel singing as you put the line down that you want. It's like, and when you do a series of lines, all like the way you want, you don't think you can be stopped until you make a mistake, and then
Oh, then everything comes crashing down.
exactly. Then reality comes in, and I realize I'm not as awesome as I think I am.
Well, Henry Bemis reassures you you're literally one of the best in the business, and I would
Thank
agree.
you. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
That's an artist thing, though. I think most artists have our highs and lows are very drastic. I think it just comes with the trade because we're very attached to our work.
Yeah, yeah. And we're also insecure. And so like any little fault, then we think, oh no, woe is me.
Yeah, I know. Terrible. Yeah. It's terrible. We're very volatile.
Yeah.
Download Solo for 10. Thank you for the super chat, Travis. Gary, are you okay with original characters for your commission tier? I may need another Gertrude. Gertrude is Down Goes Solo's character because he's going to be launching a fantasy book soon as well.
Oh yeah. No, I'm as long as it's something I can, show my family. You know what I mean?
Right.
Being another character, it's that I don't have to give a pen name, that I can actually show it off. I'm fine. It doesn't have to be a a known character or celebrity, or I do lots of portraits. I like doing portraits. Doing other characters is it's kind of fun because you get to flesh out a vision of somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I think I've seen his book. I don't think he'll ask you to draw anything too crazy, but it is he does have a beautiful woman, elf woman main character, and it is
well
fantasy.
this Red Sonja is probably about as racy as I get.
Well, it's classy. It's sexy but still classy, and this is perfectly fine. I think that's the thing with drawing sexy art, and everyone in chat knows I have no problem with drawing boobs, but I don't think it's necessary. I think there's sort of just because there's skin showing doesn't mean more skin doesn't necessarily mean more sexy or more attractive, right? There's certain things like posing and attitude and all these things that matter the most. So like everyone can have their fun sometimes, but at the end of the day, just because there's more skin doesn't mean it's better.
For me, this piece was all about the face and the hair.
Yeah.
But it's Red Sonja, so you have to do the whole package.
Yeah, that hair is awesome. That's I don't see hair done like that a lot, and
it's because it took me like half the day to ink that hair.
That's crazy because you didn't go with like neat curls, but you didn't go with straight either. Like this is sort of that balance in between. Well, she has kind of wavy hair, but it's also messy. So you can't just kind of turn your brain off. You have to think actively while drawing the entire thing.
Right. And, I think you nailed it, is that she's a sportswoman, she's out in the wild, kicking tail. So she's not going to have a perm.
Yes, I don't think so. Very unlikely. But yeah, the hair is awesome. Oh man, I have a special appreciation for well-drawn hair.
But that's that's the beauty of brush inking, is that you can get the thicks and thins and all of that. It's a great tool for inking hair.
Mm-hmm. You're slowly convincing me. Maybe I will attempt this.
Haven't pushed you over the top yet, I can tell.
It'll be a disaster, but maybe I'll pick up those old Kolinsky brushes and then I'll just cry because I won't be able to do it.
Well, when I first started, I read an article by Jim Steranko claiming that professional comic book inkers inked with a brush. And at that time, I used pens, Crookwills and dip pens and stuff like that. And so I had some watercolor brushes, in my art supplies, but they weren't, the Red Sable quality. And so I started inking with those, and I probably could have achieved a better line if I would have snapped off a twig off the tree in my front yard and used that.
Oh no.
That's how bad my lines were. And so I thought, oh, that's just, an urban myth that inkers used a brush. So I went to a comic convention and saw some professionals working on commissions, and a guy was inking away with a brush, and I stood there for like an hour and watched him, and I learned a ton, and then went home and started practicing. And it's just something you got to pay your dues. You got to put the time in, to learn the craft, and not only to understand what type of line is required for, for what situation you're inking, but have the control to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
My control isn't getting any better. In fact, it's diminishing, probably because of my age, but the mental aspect of it, of, figuring out why things work and why things don't work, that learning process continues.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, the learning never stops. Do you do anything to put yourself in the right headspace for whether inking or your work in general?
I like to listen to like books on tape and like music and that kind of thing. That I'm able to sit at my drawing table longer with listening to something. What was that comment? I missed it.
Oh, Zeno said Gary could be your senpai. He helped you master your craft. That's Japanese for teacher.
I don't know about that. Zeno, did you catch Rennie when she was on Graybeards?
Hmm?
If he saw you on Graybeards, we were talking about you today, and Kelsey does not want you to come back on Graybeards.
What? Oh, then I definitely have to come back.
Because he's convinced that you kicked everybody's ass.
What are you talking about?
You did 2 inked drawings, and the whole time you were wearing a beard while you were doing it.
Yeah. I was wearing my green beard because we were on Graybeards.
Yeah. So you could teach me a few things.
No. We got lucky. I remember because we were drawing Dark Crystal, and that was lucky because there's a cute girl, and I know my strengths. So I picked a cute fantasy girl, and I'm super fast at that. So it all depends. You have to play it smart, work smarter, not harder. And I knew that I would draw that 1,000,000 times faster than if you had to have me draw, I don't know, some kind of like superhero that I never read.
Okay, well, it worked out for you because they're still talking about it.
Well, I think that's just luck. All those guys are amazing, so I would be happy to go back on, then they can kick my butt next time. It'll be even. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun today. Kelsey was trying to, for some reason, Aaron wanted everyone to draw with crayons.
Is he okay?
Why, yeah, I don't know why, but he just wanted everyone to draw with crayons. And Kelsey drew his, and then he heard that you could like get a special sheen to the color if you put like some kind of flammable liquid on the artwork and then set it on fire. And Kelsey did that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What did I miss?
He set his artwork after he finished, he set his artwork on fire.
He would probably
and believe it or not,
for more money.
Believe it or not, the artwork improved after the blaze.
Oh God.
Yeah, you'll have to check it out. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I will. That's Kelsey is such a gem. I'm glad he's back. I think he like quit social media for a while. He must have been busy or something.
Well, he kind of does what you do, is that the work for him comes first. And when he gets behind on his work, then he cuts back on the streaming and that kind of stuff. And that's so he kind of comes and goes. And that's why, like, if he goes missing, it's because he's at his drawing table.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think 100% the work comes first. The work comes first. Advertising and being online and everything, that's crucial. And we were talking a bit about that before the show. Nowadays, I think especially for people that are coming up, my generation of artists, you have to be online. There is no other way to get yourself out there. And to networking means you need to have social media presence. You have to learn to talk to people. But I firmly believe that a lot of people, especially that was one of my main complaints about my generation of artists and seeing the people in mainstream comics. It's amongst a lot of other problems. I felt like it wasn't about the work anymore. It was more about the networking and more about just the social aspect and social media, the people that are on Twitter all day and not drawing their books that they're supposed to for Marvel and DC. And I found that really distasteful because we're here for comics and the comics should come first.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't get that it's about the work.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing to sell if you don't, if the work isn't there. Like, what are you promoting? Why are you online all the time if you don't have work? Like, I don't really get it.
We don't have anything to talk about.
Right. Well, they just argue politics and scream about Nazis and
anybody.
But it's very annoying.
Anybody can talk about politics, but how many people can do what you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Not that many.
Do what you do, right? Exactly. It's I think maybe it's tempting, to get some quick attention, but I think I'd like to think long term, and some days I really do just wish the industry was the way it used to be, but that's never going to happen. We're in this brave new age, so we're going to have to make do with it.
I like how you put that. Brave age.
It is. That's what it is.
You could have chosen any adjective. So brave, that's a good choice.
Well, it's my brain was, I was trying to make a clever tie-in to Brave New World. I suppose I failed.
No, I'm saying that I like that.
Yeah, hinting at a dystopia of some sort, which I do think we're pretty much in or bordering.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. This is the doom age. Oh dear. Let's not be doomers. Not yet. Comics are in a dystopian age. I think comics are going through some changes. And I think it was necessary, regardless of politics or what happened with the market. I do think that just the nature of having these two huge monopolies, that means the art form will stagnate. So it's not about, will superhero comics survive, or do we need more genres, which I do think we need more genres of comics. I'm a huge promoter of that. That's why I'm into fantasy and sci-fi, and that's sort of my thing. And I want a diversity of genres and ideas in comics. But superhero comics are great, and I think it will survive, but it needs invigoration. And we need new people that actually care about the comics to build anew. And I think that's going to come from the indies.
I agree. Yeah. And that's the arena that allows people to create. And the mainstream actually discourages creativity. Yeah,
definitely. I don't know what I have so many questions. I'm so curious what it was like working for Marvel and DC in the heyday, because when I worked there, it felt very much like this was a production line and it was just a job. It was, you got an email, you do the work, and there wasn't like this camaraderie. And maybe that was me going in with rose-tinted glasses. I expected to be like, yeah, we all love comics, let's bounce ideas around, but there was none of that. And there was like, it just seems like everyone was there just very like surface level doing a job, and no one really cared. And that was really sad for me.
Well, there was camaraderie amongst the freelancers, that community. And New York was the Mecca at that time because that's where the companies were. So I would go into the office, Rockefeller Plaza, where the DC headquarters was in Manhattan, and you would run into, Gil Kane and Ernie Colon and Keith Giffen and Terry Austin and guys like that who I admired as a fan and then would meet them in person. I don't know about you. It's like if you, as an amateur, I collect comics based on the artist, not the character or the stories. It was always about the art. And then when you meet these people and they take you under their wing and they teach you stuff, and I mean, that to me, that was, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Gosh, that must be so awesome.
That was the best part of it. The other side of, what, to your point, it's still a business. And the editors and the people that worked in the offices, it was their jobs. That's different than the freelancers are like, this is our dream jobs. It was not their dream job to be a comic book.
Yeah.
It's just a job to them. And especially today, back then there still were editors that were also creators. Like Len Wein was a writer. He wrote Swamp Thing for Bernie Wrightson. He was a great editor because he knew art. And obviously he knew about writing, but he also knew art, and he could give me, pointers. Editors today have no idea what inkers do.
No, they don't.
No clue what inkers do. And they're the ones making the decisions. That's why creativity is almost gone in comic companies, because the people that are calling the shots don't have those backgrounds of being a freelancer and knowing what freelancers do and the problems they have. And we talked earlier about artists being insecure. Best editors I ever had understood this and patted me on the back when they thought I needed it and kicked me in the keister when I needed that. We need that as creators. And now with crowdfunding, the backers, the people in the chat, you're the ones patting us on the back, and you're the ones kicking us in the keister to make our deadline.
Yes.
So we need that, and that's part of the symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, that's true. I have a thorough appreciation for our backers in chat, and I'm not just saying that because it's a world of difference trying to get your work out there in the market now and having zero reception and realizing that there really isn't a space for independent creators if you just don't have the right connections or you don't have the right type of book. And it's really weird because I know I don't suck. I'm not the best ever, but I don't suck. But it was a strange market and there was no place for me. But everyone that is backing our books, backing your books, backing my books, and everyone else in crowdfunding, in Comicsgate, you guys are giving us a chance, like I said before, to make our dream project. And that means a whole freaking lot. That means a lot.
It means a ton. Because it's enabling us to fulfill our dreams, to do the type of work that got us in comics in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Chesnick, I'm just saying that because they're listening right now.
Yeah, wait till we get off the air, then we're really gonna trash talk you guys.
Oh yeah, I mean, all these people giving me money, so no, nope, never for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Patreon relationship to the creator in its purest form. Yeah, I agree. Len Wein was a great writer, and he was also, I would say, he was probably one of the best editors I ever had.
I had a art director at a gaming job tell me managing artists isn't for the faint of heart. And I was like 22. I had no idea what he was talking about until I had to manage a team, like a production team, to make comics and like hire colorists and other artists, and which, by the way, everyone I work with has been great. But still, it really is understanding that artists care a lot about their work. It's not like just doing data entry. So so because we care so much, it's there's a way to give feedback, and then you have to understand that people want to feel invested. It's not just a job for us. It's so much more.
That's true. You would make a good editor.
Oh, thank you.
Although I don't know if any artists that are doing the work want to be an editor. But a lot of them, they don't, if they, you know, that old, a lot of artists that teach is because their jobs are you know, scarcer, and so they go into teaching. And the editors that I knew that were also artists is their workload was less, and so then they became editors. But we'd rather be at the drawing table.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I have the bandwidth, but thank you for your kind words and encouragement. It's I think all it takes is, it's not like it's simple, but understanding story, understanding the craft, and understanding how to manage people, which isn't easy, but also if you put your mind to it, I think is pretty straightforward. But apparently that's not something they can manage now. Apparently that's too much to ask.
Well, you even mentioning managing people is one of the qualifications. Probably the worst group of people in my entire life at returning phone calls were comic book editors. When you're a freelancer and you have a problem, you need, you know, an answer to your problem so you can continue with your work, and you you get, you know, phone silence for several days. That could be disconcerting.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. Oh God. I think well, now there's email, so it's hopefully
I'm including email with that.
Okay. Okay. You know what? I think I might have had the same issue, but I just blocked it out of my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not the best at returning messages either, but you know, that's why I'm not an editor. At this point I need an assistant. Nobody reads email. Well, that's true, but that should change. It's hard switching from that brain of you're creating, and as artists I find that, I mean, all I want to do is just draw all day. I don't want to talk to people. But in this sphere, if you're running your own crowdfunding campaign, your own business, you have to talk to people. You have to answer those emails, and you have to do it. And it's not that I don't want to, because I care about my customers, but it's it's hard making that brain switch almost to like promotion mode and problem solving mode versus drawing mode. It's very different.
When I'm working, you can see my drawing tables behind me. I'm facing my computer now. And so when I'm working, my computer is at my back, and I'm working away, and I hear that notification that I've gotten an email, you know, that ping. It breaks my concentration, and I want to know what that email is, and I try to work my way through it, you know, but I can't. It just like nags at me, and it'll be something stupid, you know, like Ukrainian singles, or I mean, just something absolutely ridiculous. It's like, oh man. And then you have to try to, you know, get back into your work from that.
Ukrainian singles. What website would that be from?
Yeah, no, I don't know how I got on that list.
Well, you know, they sell your data to all kinds of strange people nowadays.
Yeah,
how it happens. Not the ping. I'm serious.
Exactly. And I start imagining what, you know, that it could be something important. And that's what breaks my concentration. And it never is. It's never, you know, something that I need.
Yeah, there definitely is. You have to you get in the flow of things. And what I hate is, it's not that it's hard for me to just get in the headspace of working, but I like to just be in a flow. And I hate having that being interrupted.
Yes, when it's interrupted, it's like you have to start your process all over again.
Right. It's annoying. It's a few things that are as annoying and gratifying. It's hard to explain because when you're in the zone, you're in the zone.
Yeah. So curse those Ukrainian singles.
Yes, we don't care about Ukrainian singles. FK asked, do you have a link to that website? I should have the link to this campaign pinned, and if I somehow did not pin it, it is in the description of the video. So everybody check out. This is Brush
It's
with
on
Destiny.
Fund My Comic, so it's very easy to find.
Yes. And yes, the link is indeed in the description and pinned. So check that out, please. Down goes Solo for $10. Thank you again so much. Okay, Gary, at Back, you're commissioned here. Awesome. How can I send you an example of Gertrude? I've got a pretty bitchin' character sheet.
That's a good question. Are you on Twitter or Instagram? You can contact me. My Instagram is Martin Inkart, and my Twitter is at gmartin inc. So you can contact me through there. Yeah, that'd be the best way. And then, you could send me stuff and I can send you stuff and, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I know he's on Twitter. So Alex wants me to show my Gertrude work. I can't because I sent it to Dago Solo. I did that character design. It's it's pretty good. Pretty cool.
As a heads up, the piece that you backed, it's what's my price range on that? I can't remember. Is it $100?
Yeah, which is incredibly affordable. I can't believe that's what you're.
These aren't. You're not going to get an illustration like this for $100. It's going to be simpler. It's not going to have tons of cross hatching and that kind of stuff. It's a simpler. Like I said, I'm explaining it as a headshot done on 8x10. It's going to be more convention quality than 2 to 3 days quality, if you understand what I'm saying. So if you want something at this level, then contact me and we can work something out.
Dangosolo says he knows. Okay, cool.
Okay, good. So as far as this campaign, it's winding down. I just have a couple of pieces to finish for the book, and then I got to put it together and send it off to the printer. So I don't have a timeline yet of when that's going to happen. It depends on how long it'll take me to finish. I've got 2 more pieces to finish, which, a couple of weeks maybe, and then that'll be it. So yeah, the clock is ticking on this.
It says the book is sold out. How did I not even notice
that was an add-on. My inking book, my how-to book, those sold. That was an add-on, and those sold out like the first day.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking about doing a separate campaign for the inking book.
Okay.
I haven't decided yet because it's kind of a specialized type thing.
So the actual book is that just
an autograph? The actual book, I think, is above that. Where is it?
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, that's original art. Keep going. I have print sets, 11x17 print sets, and then the inking book. Yeah, keep going.
That's it.
And
yeah.
Maybe it's in there somewhere. It has to be in there somewhere. That's weird.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. No, you might have to check on the back end. Yeah, Fund My Comic did change up a few things, but what I know is because I also have a live campaign on there right now. You can reorder the tiers, the perks now, so you can hide things. So you can hide this one that's sold out, but maybe
hold on a second. I'm looking.
Yeah, maybe the book tier got hidden by accident. So I'm sure it's there, and if not, Luke will help us. I know he will.
Wow, it's not even there.
What?
I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It is not even there. Wow. Maybe that's why I haven't got any backers today. All right. I'm going to have to give Luke a call.
Okay. Oh, I really hope you sort it out. Well, everybody, bookmark this campaign because I'm sure Luke will sort this out, and then you can come back in a couple days and back the book.
No, it probably should be. I'm going to call him tonight.
Yeah, he's very responsive, so I'm
He is.
sure he'll
Yeah. You couldn't do that with Indiegogo, that's for sure. Call him up and say, "Hey, I have a problem."
Oh yeah, yep. It's that's one
The
thing
book
I have
tiers is
very
going.
much.
Yeah, that's odd. I didn't realize that. I need to look at my own campaign more often. I wasn't aware.
Are you looking on the back end to see if it's hidden?
What do you mean back end?
So on through the campaign managing, if you go into your account and go to my campaigns, go to like the campaign editor.
I haven't looked at that yet, but I don't know why it would be gone.
Okay, I can show you after the show because it might be hidden. What they did was from my comic rolled out a modification where you can hide perks, and maybe there was a glitch and it got hidden by accident. So if that's the case, it's pretty easy to fix on your own. But if not,
Okay.
like you can call.
Well, that's true. I could just open up my account and look inside, like you say, for myself and see if it's there. If it's there, then I can solve the problem.
Yeah, I hope that's all it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if the funding didn't go down, then it should still be there. It's not like the whole perk just disappeared.
That's true. But yeah, the book though, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Oh no, that's so
It
unfortunate.
is not there.
Well, I'm glad we caught it. Man, this book looks amazing. I'm sure many people have been wanting to back it up. So bookmark this page and check back because the book will be back up.
Yeah, I would really appreciate it. Like I say, the clock is ticking, and once this book is fulfilled, then the price is going to go up for the copies that I have to sell. So the window is shrinking, and any backers that I get, it's that money literally goes to me funding my graphic novel, and that's the purpose of this campaign. Is one, to get my feet wet in the crowdfunding, and two, to be able to do a project that I've been thinking about for a long time. I'm sure, Randy, that you understand when you're thinking about a project, you think about it maybe even for years before you actually, characters and plot lines, and it wouldn't be cool if this character did that, and you're thinking about it all the time. You're thinking about it while you're watching movies, or you're thinking about it, you're thinking about it while you're working.
It's this continual movie that plays in your head, and it's also not like once you launch it, then it stops, because as you're working on it, just more things play out, and you're it's almost like what I find is you're fine combing things and kind of honing in on things as you work, and you figure out how, like, you can have everything planned out from the beginning, but as you work, things just solidify. I feel like that's inevitable. Or maybe there are people that are just brilliant writers and know exactly, they find their character voices right away. But what I find is an ongoing process. So it's obsessive. I think people who are creators and comic artists, you have to be just obsessed and daydream about your work all day. So yeah, you're right.
And when you're in a relationship, and when you're with someone that doesn't understand that, and they ask you the question, "What are you thinking about?" What do you think I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about my freaking comic story. That's what I'm thinking about.
Oh, well, what I get is like, "Oh, you seem so disinterested," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I have this obsession. It's not like I don't like you or anything." And then it's just this, they don't understand. They don't understand.
You can't help it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm already, my soul has been taken by comics, so I can't depart from it. Too bad I didn't get the technical message. No, I didn't. Oh, chat. 3 months. So when is 3 months? Speaking of this campaign ending soon, when are you planning on printing it? Because I see here it says no end date, but I assume you'll be manually taking it down after a while.
Right. Once I fulfill it, I get into that process of it being printed and I get the books, that'll be it. And like I say, it's a couple of weeks away from having all the material that I need for it. And it's just a matter of, assembling it and sending it off to the printer. And I don't know how long the printer needs, to print it and then ship the books to me. That could be weeks, it could be a month, I don't know. Especially, around this time of year.
Oh, this time of year is bad. It's
Is it?
people, yeah, because well, if you're printing in December, I would say it'll take longer. Because apparently printers get loaded with work. A lot of clients want things printed in time for Christmas and the New
Oh, okay.
Year's.
That makes
There are
sense.
events going on, so it probably will be better to just line them up for January.
That's probably smart to just wait until January.
Yeah, or contact them, but have everything lined up. I would.
Right.
Say.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by this is winding down. So it's close to being finished.
Cool. All right. Paul
And
Taylor
I
asked.
promise to get on this whole, missing book tier as soon as we're done.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. This is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
So
really
those in the chat, appreciate your patience, and if you want to get on this, then bear with me.
Thank you, chat, for catching that. I didn't even notice.
Oh, by the way.
Oh God. Paul Taylor asked if I'll have Gary back when his book shows on the campaign. If you want to, you are more than welcome. Yeah, sure. Or
Absolutely.
when you're.
I love talking about art and especially with artists that I don't know their background and just like your experience. I'm fascinated with your journey, and that's something that I'd like to talk to you more about.
Oh, you're like an old industry veteran. I'm sure I don't have anything interesting to say.
No, everybody
has
their own story and their own. We think everybody is like us. I think everybody is like me. Like all artists have the same experience, but no one has had the same experience that I have. And talking to someone else and what they went through and all that fascinates me, and how you got to where you are today, the decisions that you made and all that you went through, and all that adds up to who you are right now. And that, to me, that's fascinating.
Well, it was a lot of bumbling around and just not.
I know we don't know what we're doing. We're faking it 90% of the time.
Through all the dejection and like we've been talking about artists, when we have our lows, they're really low. But what honestly has helped was realizing that nobody else has any idea what they're doing either.
Right. That's true.
Well,
it takes a while. We think in the beginning, we think everybody has their act together except us.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite. That they're really good at faking it. They're better at faking it than we are.
Yeah.
I learned that. I'll tell the short version of the story. My inking book is basically a how-to book. And in the back, it had blue line boards that you could unfold to make 11 by 17, and they were perforated so you can tear them out of the book. And the production meeting, the Dark Horse published this book years ago. And the production meeting, the first one we had when I was describing the project to the editors, the production manager, the sales team, the promotion, the accountant. I mean, all these, the heads of all these departments were in this boardroom. We're sitting around this table, and it got to the part of the blue line inserts, and somebody asked me a question. Well, how do you see these inserts being put in the book? And I said, I don't know. I mean, I'm an artist. I don't know anything about books. And I look around the room, and everyone is looking at me. And I realize no one knows how to do this. And that was the main part of the proposal, is to have blue line boards that people could practice on after reading the book. Right? So I start to panic, and the wheels start to turn, and I'm, looking at everybody, and the room goes quiet. They're all looking at me. And so off the top of my head, I say, well, the book is, 8.5 by 11. So if we take 11 by 17 and fold it in half and then perforate it, so it can be torn out, like I described, it won't destroy the book. And then I noticed that everyone in the room sitting at this, conference table, they're all writing this stuff down. They're taking notes.
Wow.
And that's when I realized no one knew what they were doing. They were all faking it. And this was their publishing books. That was their gig. That was their day job. My day job was sitting at a drawing table. I didn't know anything about this stuff. And here I am telling them how to, and that's how the book turned out, that's how we ended up doing it. How I came up with that right then, under a moment of panic that I better say something.
Oh, those are the best moments. That's an awesome story.
But that people, they don't know what they're doing. They're just good at faking it.
Yeah, I think, it's one thing to publish books as your job, but it's another thing to think on your feet when you need to. So if I imagine that was one of those situations where if you're publishing something they're printing something that's already been done before, then it's been done. But coming up with a new way to solve a problem, that's not everybody's forte.
But I didn't realize that. I didn't know that it had not been done before. Why not? Why can't you just, perforate it and have 11 by 17 and 8.5 by 11? Why can't you do that? And apparently it was new, and I didn't know that.
You invented it. Congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah. But you're right. So when you realize that most people don't know what they're doing, it's freeing. That you realize you're everyone's in the same boat, and so you don't have to, you just do the best that you can and hope it works out.
That's true. Yeah, there's no need to I think also artists are very insecure, so sometimes we're afraid to speak out or take the lead. But honestly, it's okay to just throw your wild ideas out there, because I think one of the favorite, not a favorite saying, but the whole idea of you never know if you don't try, right? I think a lot of artists are insecure, they overthink things, and you never get started on your project. But the reason we're all here is because we stopped overthinking and we just did it. So it might fail. I might end up a failure, but you have to try. And maybe one day.
When you're a freelancer, that's all it is that, trying stuff. And I want to do this project. It's not going to get done unless I take the first step. That whole, journey saying. And so you have to, put on your big boy pants and go do it. And that's where a lot of people fail, is they think about all the possibilities of it not succeeding, and then it never gets off the ground. And so you can't be, like you just said, you can't be afraid of that. You just have to give it a shot. And artwork, every single piece of artwork that's in front of you, it's that same thing. You have a vision of what you want it to look like, and you hope you achieve that goal. And like this Leia piece, I wanted to do a soft light shadow with gray tone and not black. And I wanted to do it in cross hatching. I had no idea how it was going to come out. And once you start cross hatching, it's like, oh, what did I get myself into? You don't know what it's going to look like until you're done, until you fill it. I always fill in the blacks last.
Mm-hmm.
And when I fill in the blacks, that's when I know if I'm succeeding or not. I'm not halfway through it saying, oh man, I'm kicking ass today, because you don't know. And so you have to just persevere and just keep at it until you're finished. And then you sit back and look at it. And that's when you decide if you achieve your goal or not. And you just have to do that every day.
Mm-hmm. That is 100% true. I'm looking at the cross hatching, and I don't know if you can see my cursor. Probably no, you can't. Are you doing, it looks like it's just like a grid, that whole patch from her cheek to her neck. Were you doing lines all the way through that whole area, or did you hatch in patches, if you know what I mean?
I do it in patches. I connect the lines. So it's not like from the cheek to her turtleneck. That's not like one long line and then another long line next to it. And
thank God. Okay, I was like, are you a robot? What? Because that's what it looks like, but at least you do it in patches and it all lines up.
Okay, I can probably do maybe about a line, maybe about 4 inches long. That's my maximum before my hand starts to, so I will stop and then move my hand and then connect that line and, keep going. And so, yeah. And that's why what I mean, like doing that kind of thing. I like my cross hatching to be precise. So to do it this way, to have this look, I have to slow down and, so like just doing that cross hatching on her face took, easily, from breakfast to lunch, just doing that. And it's monotonous, it's tedious, it takes 100%, concentration. I can't talk on the phone and do cross hatching because it's slow for me, because I'm trying to do that, the precise technique. But I know what it looks like when I'm done, that it looks cool to me. I like that look. And so that's why I do it this way. And that's why I put that much time into it, is because I like the result. There's a lot of different ways to cross hatch. Like Aaron Lopresti cross hatches a lot, like on Wraith of God, but his is more haphazard. He does it really quick, and he just keeps laying lines down to build up the value to the darkness that he wants. Mine is more, I know how many lines to put down to achieve a certain gray tone. I mean, I figured it all out. Like if you see a pencil drawing of mine, I code everything. I don't pencil out obviously I don't pencil out the cross hatching. I just draw the outline of the shape. And like you see the reflective light under her chin in the pencil, I'll just draw that shape and then I put a little L there for light. And then like a medium gray, I'll just put a G for gray, and then a darker gray, I'll put a D. And so when I'm inking it, I know the value that how many layers I need to put down. So I have a system that's very precise, and it takes a little while to do that. Yeah, Eric, Kit Carter.
Yeah, Kit Carter is live right now by Lopresti. Everyone, go get that.
Yeah, and I did a Kit Carter piece that's on his campaign. It's of Kit and a close-up of her face, and there's cross-hatching that we're talking about, cross-hatching. It's the same technique that you could see the layers of lines that I used.
Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. I have so many more questions, though I don't want to keep you forever.
No, I'm fine.
I love talking about art.
Yeah, so do I.
So how big is this piece? I see the pieces behind you. Are they all?
They're all pretty much, I would say most of them are 11 by 17. I rarely go smaller than that. Some of them are larger than 11 by 17, but I would say most of them are that size.
Okay.
I'm just used to working with that size because that's the traditional comic page, 11 by 17.
Okay.
So so these are all these portraits, I call them. They're big, like to blow up a whole face. So you can see.
Yeah, let me full screen
like
you.
this.
Oh yeah, that is huge.
That's big.
That's awesome. That's in the book too, right? Are all those?
Yeah.
Awesome. Those are all 11. And there's the Red Sonja. Oh,
yeah, there she is.
Good one. Yeah. What? Yes. Are those for sale?
Yeah. These are all behind me. These are all the originals.
Awesome. I feel like you should price the Red Sonja a little higher than the other ones. I'm sure nobody would mind. I'm gonna share Kit Carter. Okay, there we go. And the link is in the chat. Thank you, Eric Cotfuls. It's a little hard to find because Indiegogo, but there it is. Everyone check this out. Man, Aaron's work is so
I'm
good.
toward the bottom.
Okay.
Here we go. Right there.
Ah, yes. Yeah, look at those shadows. That's so cool. The hair. Oh. I love well-drawn hair. It's like, mwah, it's a thing.
It's something that you can't just knock out. You've got to, you got to put time and effort into it.
Yeah, hair is, it's, you have to actively think about it. There's no other way to,
and if you look at Aaron's Kit Carter hair, his style for this character is a little more cartoony. So it's a little, a little more simplified. So I was trying to do kind of a in between his style and my style for that piece.
Yeah, I can tell it's a little less realistic. A little Art Adamsy, I would say, kind of how
I get that a lot. Yeah, I get that a lot. Yeah.
Not your regular style, but I think it's the hatching, right? When you
probably
draw, when it's a little, when you draw a cartoony face, I can see the similarity. That monster in the background coming out of the shadows. That's so cool.
This is a take on Frank Frazetta, famous Funnies cover from the 50s. And so I just he had, like, I think Flash Gordon. Yeah, Ethan does great hair.
Yeah.
So I took out his Flash Gordon figures and put in Kit Carter, but the background is a recreation of a Frazetta. That's why in the signature box on the upper right hand corner has Frazetta's name, because I'm swiping his background.
Right, I see. After Frazetta. Awesome.
No, I'm not inking Kit Carter. This is just a pinup that I did for the book.
Will this be colored?
Yes, Kelsey's coloring it.
Oh, what a collaboration. All right, well, you definitely want to get this now.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Back this now, friends. You'll not want to miss this. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That's so awesome. I want to draw now. Yeah, me too. I feel I need to get back to drawing. Well, I'll have you on again.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, it's I just love talking to people about their process, and I think there's not a lot of shows like that. That's why I really enjoy Graybeards and I do the Creative Block show Thursday nights with the Block crew, Phil and Narwhal and Jake Hyper Wizard, and I also do a show with Ali Sanguis. I don't know if you know her, but she's a writer, and I think talking about the process and not just selling the book and pitching it is also something that's very interesting for both the audience and very inspiring for other creators. And I think people like hearing about that, how the product is made.
Right.
I don't know how else to say it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
and
that improves them.
everybody's different. I mean, we all, even like on Graybeards, we're just constantly talking about everybody else's process and what the decisions they're making, what tools are they using, what kind of ink is that, what kind of pencil is that, like Kelsey setting his drawing on fire. He was just experimenting. It didn't really work, but I mean, for him to have the huevos to even do something like that.
I have to catch it. I can't believe that he actually. Oh, he set his art on fire. That is the most Kelsey thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god, yeah, his book Scribbles is also on Indiegogo. Everybody go check it out. All right,
On my comic.
Oh right, about my comics. Oh, shame on me. How could I have made that slip? Oh, shame. Fund my comic. Yes, get it now.
Yeah, but that's to your point, artists, when they get together, what are we going to talk about? And when I'm on some of the other streams with other artists and they start talking about politics, I try to steer the conversation back to the work. I want to talk about the art.
Yeah, same. I just want to talk about comics. I want to draw comics, and that's that's it. Yep. More of that. Oh my gosh.
And that's what Graybeard is. Yeah, we rarely talk about politics.
Yeah. I think there's there's certain people want to talk about politics. It's fine. It's not my thing. That's all it is. It's just not everyone is made for talking about politics all day. I'd rather listen to it, but even just breaking down like the industry or talking about or even just giving reviews, I think it's better if we gravitate and make our content towards what we actually want to make and what we're good at, instead of saying, well, this is if you want to sell your comic, you have to do this or that type of show, or you have to I don't know, present your YouTube channel a certain way. I don't know. I put a lot of thought into this, and I think in CG there is a lot of variety. There's so many different types of shows because it's all about freedom, and I think that's really great.
Yeah, and that's something that we're all learning this. Like I say, I'm new at this whole CG thing. I didn't even know it existed until like I said before, until a year ago. And David Williams called me up and says, "Hey, I'm working on a new project. It's called Truth, Justice, American Way. Do you want to ink it?" Then I said, "Oh yeah, sure. I've worked with David many times, over the years." Yeah, definitely. And he said, "Well, let me give you the heads up on Comicsgate." And I didn't know what Comicsgate was.
That's crazy. It seems like there was such a big hullabaloo in the comics industry, but really,
but I really wasn't in the comics industry at that time. That's just like I was doing, like I say, military type illustrations and commissions and that kind of thing. I hadn't worked for mainstream for a while. And so I wasn't worried about burning bridges because I didn't, I didn't have any bridges at that time. And I said, I don't care, like the values are the same. I agree with, with the values. And so, yeah, I'm on board. And then, I don't know how many of you know what happened with T-Jaw, but it burnt down and it didn't work out. But through that experience, I'm now, Comicsgate is my thing now. It's become my main focus. And it wasn't, like I said, about a year ago, I had nothing to do with it. And now it's my focus and everything else is secondary. And then, and that the whole thing about crowdfunding and being able to, like you say, do what we want to do, pursue our dreams, it's because of Comicsgate and crowdfunding. And that's, without that, I can't see myself illustrating a graphic novel. I think that's the only scenario where I could do this.
Paul,
could you think of another? Yeah, except for my phone beats. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Woo, I'm almost knocking my banner over. Good job. Let's not do that. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
so this is it's all new for me, and the whole social media thing, and all that. I mean, everyone tells me I need to get my own YouTube channel, and I'm thinking about it. People want to know how I do what I do. They want to see it.
Yeah, I think you would do great having a channel that's just recordings of your drawing or draw streams. I think that's what Kelsey's channel is.
Yeah. But I don't draw on the Graybeards draw stream.
Oh, you don't? That's what I noticed that one time. I was like, you didn't draw, and I was like,
just that one show. I never draw on the.
Why?
It's because I'm too slow.
Oh.
Those guys and you have perfected. I noticed, well, better than those guys. But you've perfected a system. I call it Comic-Con mode, where you're sitting at a table and somebody comes up to you and says, "Can you do a drawing of Batgirl?" Okay, Ahsoka. Can you do a drawing of Ahsoka? You didn't say, "Okay, it's this much," and you tell them, "Come back in a couple hours." And in that time, you're sitting there at the drawing table. You're still, talking to other people and taking care of business, and you're selling stuff, and you're interfacing with everybody around you, and you're drawing and inking and maybe coloring a commission. I can't do that. I never developed that, like I say, a Comic-Con art style. And Aaron can do it, Kelsey can do it, David Williams can do it, and obviously you can do it. That's not something that I ever perfected. Like, my art is this, and I cannot do this in 2 hours. I can't do it in 2 hours.
Oh, this is amazing in its own sense. It's a different type of drawing, though. I think you're right. It's the whole Comic-Con art style thing, where even when you're doing a convention sketch, you sort of, after doing shows for a few years, you develop a different style for conventions where you learn to draw, and you're gonna pump out some like really bad pieces at first. I've done so many bad sketches early on, but then you learn your strengths, and then you play to your strengths, the angles that you're good at, and you draw quickly, and you have to draw and talk at the same time. And usually not everybody is like, big and famous. Not everybody is Adam Hughes, and we don't have helpers, so you have to run the table at the same time. And but if you don't do commissions, you don't earn money.
Somebody wants to buy something or talk to you about a proposal, or I mean, talk about spinning plates all at once, to keep them going. That's what you're doing, and to be able to produce a piece of artwork at the same time. It's not a skill I have mastered. So and plus I don't like witnesses. I don't like when I make a mistake and people see it. It's like I get self-conscious about that. So I don't like when somebody's looking over my shoulder. And that's the time element, and the time element, the self-conscious part, and not developing that convention style. If I'm at a show, I do not do commissions at a show. If somebody wants something, I'll say, okay, but I have to do it at home and ship it to you. And I guarantee they'll get a better piece of artwork. You're right.
It just mysteriously apparates.
You're right. But they get a better piece of art if I do it at home than if I do it at the show.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. It's that's the hard thing that I think, well, artists do convention sketches because that's where your income, that's the only way you make money for conventions. It's not from book sales for most
Well,
people.
that's why these pieces of art, it's a lot of these, like I said, are commissions, these pieces that are going in the book. A lot of them are just pieces that I did for prints to sell at shows. And so I sell 11 by 17 prints. And like, as an example, this Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, I've easily sold over 100 of these at shows over the years, easily. So you sell the original and then you keep selling prints.
Yeah.
And that's where I get most of my income. I'll bring original art, but my prices, tend to be a little more expensive. I don't bring, like sketches or anything. They're finished pieces like this, or like pieces that I have behind me. So most of the income that I get at shows is selling 11 by 17 prints. And that's where a lot of the artwork is coming from that is going in this art book.
Yeah, that does make sense. Do you sell these as like this, or do you have them colored?
I rarely do color. That's I made a conscious choice to sell black and white prints at shows because most artists sell color. People like color, and I realize that but there's a certain group of people, and I'm included in that prefer black and white, and plus it's something different, but that's why I rely heavily on illustration techniques, like splatter and cross hatching and that kind of thing, because if it's going to be color, you're really wasting your time doing that, because the color will cover that up.
That's true. Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think this needs color. Actually, it would it would destroy it.
And I get a lot of guys that's up and coming color artists and want to color my stuff. And can I color this? I've had people ask me to color this Gal Gadot, and I say, yeah, you can, but keep in mind that some things are not meant to be colored.
I agree. Yeah, even if someone were to color it, the only way I can see something like this being colored well, but still I don't think it would be better than just a black and white, is really soft colors, just gradients, very, very light, because you don't want to overpower the inks. And there's nothing worse than a color job that overpowers the inks.
And I would get many times from pencil artists, they liked my cross-hatching when I was inking them for a comic book, for Marvel or DC. And they liked my cross-hatching. So they'd say, couldn't you cross-hatch this, or can you cross-hatch that? And 9 times out of 10, when the book was printed and I'm looking at the color page, laughing at that comment, looking at that page, that I crosshatch that's in the comic book and it's colored, you can't see the crosshatching. It's drowned with color, and I completely wasted my time doing it. So something like this, I can do it and people can see it.
Yeah.
Uncoated paper, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, that's why I like artist editions, because you could see the raw black and white artwork.
Yeah, I love artist editions as well, and I've been thinking of doing one, but it's one of those things where I know Aaron Lopresti does them, and a few other creators do make artist editions with their crowdfunded books. I don't know why I'm a little hesitant,
because it's expensive.
It is a gamble. Yeah, it's like printing a hardcover. Right?
It's very expensive.
Yeah. Once you print at a larger size, I mean, it's easier to print at a larger volume than print at a larger
Right.
size. It's shocking how much the price goes up once you start making the pages bigger. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was
And
thinking of doing my art book at um 9 by what was the 9 by 12, I think. And it was way more expensive than 8.5 by 11. And it's
Mhm.
really not that much bigger.
Yeah.
It's like 30-40% more expensive.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, yeah, I'd love to do it, but oh boy, Crisis has a good idea. Wait until you can make a trade and then make an artist edition. Yeah, that would be a good idea. That would be a good companion
And there's
with a trade
something,
or
you know,
omnibus.
doing something like that on print on demand might be an option because it is such a specialty item. You know, it would have a small print run anyway, so it may not be, you know, economically feasible to print 100 copies or 200 copies or whatever and then hope you sell them, as opposed to print on demand.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, the thing with print on demand is quality control,
Right,
but I
right.
I do think I'm sure that'll get better. It would
Well,
be
I guess,
it would
yeah,
be
with a artist edition, that's key.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's. I mean, I guess you can because I've looked at the back end of Amazon Print on Demand. And you can pick like paper type, but it's very much for prose books. They don't have all the options for someone who wants to print a book of art because when you want to put art on a page, it matters a lot more. The paper and the type
Right.
of printing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Dan Wallace is in the chat. What's up?
Hey, Dan.
Hello, hello,
Hey, Dan.
sir.
Oh, Dan
Uh,
also contributed a piece on Aaron's Kit Carter. He did a color Kit Carter that's amazing. And
yeah.
I don't think it's on Aaron's page yet. But
Aw.
it's going to be in the pinup section. I think what is it? The Aaron has the hardbound. He has two editions, a softbound and hardbound, and I think the hardbound is going to have the a pinup section, and Dan's color piece is going to be in there.
Awesome. It's a very pin-upable book and
Yeah,
character.
yeah, yeah,
Pin-upable. It is now a word. I have
yeah.
invented
I like it.
it. That's great. Yeah, everyone go check this out. I forgot to ask, how many pages is your art book?
Um, I've lost count. It started out at 100. It's like around 120, 130 right now. I'm not sure. So it's in that neighborhood, 120, 130. And it's eight
Oh
and a half by
wow.
11. And every page will get its own piece of artwork. I'm not going to crowd the pages with little tiny panels. They'll all be, all the illustrations will be full size.
Awesome. That's great. So this is a hefty one. It's a thick boy. You guys are gonna get your money's worth. As soon as this book we can get it back on the campaign
Yeah,
page.
so they can actually.
Yes,
But I
sir.
promise to get right on that.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be resolved. Let's see. Let me address a few more things from chat. I did star this. I didn't want to miss it. That name changes. I hope you're still around. Reading Trust, you have to know when Fulfillment Fiendish 2 to international backers will be sent. It is sent. I just paid the invoice for the last batch of Fiendish 2 fulfillments. So I know Jake, who is in England, ye old England, just got his book. International people are getting their books. And
Nice.
what RJ's my fulfillment guy. He's been sending out international books along with domestic orders because the way he does it is he's been I don't know his system, but he groups it by like shipping weight and complexity. He's got this whole system. Like he does this professionally. But the only ones that we left till the end were Australia orders. I apologize again. Maybe next time we'll ship Australia first because Australia, for some reason, has to be special in the eyes of USPS, and USPS just refuses to ship to Australia. So what happens is they have to go through third-party brokers or something like that, and it is insanely expensive. I paid an arm and a leg to mail this giant crate of books to Australia, but those books are on their way. we are technically done with the book fulfillment for Fiendish 3. The only thing that's left is wood burning. So I still have some wood burnings to do. That's on me. But RJ's work is done, guys. So give it a couple weeks, everybody. I'm going to post an update on the campaign. And if you should get a tracking from RJ. If you don't get your books in a couple weeks, we'll take care of you. We'll make sure everybody gets their books. But his work is done. All books are shipped. All books are shipped. Oh my God. Ah! I'm so happy. Holy crap. That just happened. That just happened like yesterday.
So do you have like a champagne moment where you celebrate it being finished?
You know, I've been so buried in work, I don't even like have time to celebrate these things. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, you hit the stretch goal, and it's like, yeah, I'm really happy on the stream. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that, and then it's like right back to work, because for me, the immediate next step is, okay, well, we hit this goal. What is the next thing I have to do? So now we're done with Fiendish 2 fulfillment. I have to do all these things for Fiendish 3, and I'm like scrambling to do that, because even though I don't have a schedule and the campaign isn't live yet, I don't want to wait too long before I launch it. So I have all these goals for myself, but at the same time, I don't want to rush myself, because Fiendish 3, I want it to be good. So I'm thinking like 10 steps ahead.
That's the life of a freelancer, is that you tend not to think about what you're working on. You think about what you're going to work on next.
Yeah, really. There isn't much time for celebration, but I think that's fine. It's just I think there's a special kind of happiness that comes from just seeing your books printed and in your hands and in other people's hands, and I think that's plenty.
That's true.
It's all I want. Hallelujah! Yeah! We need to pass a bottle of grog unless it's a primordial pagan metal. That's true. Well, I do that every day.
What is, Henry? What is actually grog? What is it? Some kind of ale? I mean, what is it?
Well, my understanding, I know grog from playing D&D and Pathfinder, and grog is a kind of crude alcohol that goblins make.
I know, but what's in it? How's it made?
You don't want to know.
Okay, all right. Never mind then.
Generic booze, yeah. I love all you guys. There's a lot of D&D references in my chat because people know I'm a gamer. Let's see. For Sissel, Gary wants he might put out a creator-owned project after the brush. You did mention that today. Would you like to give another hint of that for anyone who missed it?
It's a drama of a woman astronaut stranded on Mars with limited oxygen, with hilarious consequences. So it's not going to be like Kit Carter, where Kit Carter's on the silly side. There aren't going to be, goofy monsters and, stuff like that. It's just going to be her trying to survive. And I can't tell you much more than that, because that would be spoilers. But it's going to be done like, if you see this Maryland illustration, it's going to be rendered in that style, heavily rendered. It will definitely be a labor of love.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's going to be an amazing looking book. All right, back brush with Destiny. Well, you can back the signature tier now and bookmark it to back the book. Come back tomorrow.
So yeah, I expect the numbers to jump in the morning when you guys wake up and go to this page. It'll be fixed. So you got it.
Yes, I'm counting on all of you
out in the chat. I'm calling you out.
Yes. We've had over 100 people watching for most of the show. I expect all of you to have this bookmarked, and tomorrow morning you're going to back this book, and it's going to get over $10,000, and then it'll all, because you want to back this, you don't want to miss it, because all of this is going towards funding Gary's comic that he's going to be working on. And this is over 100 pages. It's a lot of drawings, 100 pages of drawings, over 100 pages of art just like this. So, you want it. Get it.
So I think I'm going to record that sales pitch that you just gave and put it on my campaign page.
Sure, no problem. I'm
You
here to
know
help.
you want it.
Yeah, no, you want it. I say that a lot, but I feel like it's a good sell, you know. It's like, this looks good. Don't you want to take it home with you? You want this beautiful book on your
Exactly.
shelf. Your shelf is asking to have this book with it.
That's
Give
right.
it to your
And it's
bookshelf.
more than, it's transcended want. It's become need. You
That's
you
right.
don't just merely want it, you need it.
That's right. You need this book on your bookshelf now.
And it's something you could, put on your coffee table. There will not be any embarrassing moments in front of the in-laws. It's something that you can share.
Very wholesome and family friendly. This will be a family
Right,
friendly book.
exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't call it wholesome, but it, it is family friendly.
Right. Well, awesome. I have a burning urge to get back to drawing, so I think I'm gonna do that now. But this has been an awesome, awesome conversation. If you don't mind, I'd like to pull up my campaign real quick
Yes,
and
let's see
show
that.
everybody what's going on because I also have a live campaign and well, I'll pull it up on my website phoenixcomic.com, but it is live on Fund My Comic as well. It's just Fund My Comic has a functionality that I love, which is they let you mirror the campaign onto your own website. And Indiegogo and Kickstarter don't let you do that, I'm sure because of some proprietary reason. But Fund My Comic is, they're our friends, and it's run by Luke, and Luke is cool. So you can just mirror it. This is the widget, and I have it mirrored on the Phoenix. I just love this. I'm so happy with this. We crossed 25,000. Thank you so much, everybody. That's
Nice.
awesome. The last update I posted on Twitter, we were just like gunning for 25,000. So now we're over it. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And this campaign is running until February, but we still have a ways to go. But definitely, you don't want to miss out because, as you all know, my campaign covers are campaign exclusive. I don't do reprints of the campaign covers. I'll do reprints of the books, but and I'll probably do like collected editions of each arc. You guys know I have everything planned out, but these covers are campaign exclusive. Fiendish 2.5 is the first standalone one-shot to the Fiendish series. We follow Casimir, my main character, after the destruction of his hometown, and we get to find out more about how he survived after he was left alone in the wild. We get to meet some of the other characters that we see in the main books, like Ragna and Easkell, but also how they met Casimir and what they were like when they were younger, and all these really interesting adventure stories. And you get to really delve into Casimir's character because I felt like I haven't been able to do that in the main books as much. And I think in chapter 3 that'll change a lot because I have a very withdrawn main character, and a lot of the other characters in the early part of the story were carrying the plot forward because Easkell is more extroverted. Yomi definitely has a very interesting art. She has a very interesting background, but Casimir is like the quiet driving force behind the story of Fiendish. They're trying to find out where these demons are from, and he's the only one that remembers seeing these demons because he was the sole survivor of this demon attack. But we get to find out a little more about his struggle and what he's like as a person. And my goal with these 0.5 chapters is that I want them to serve as short stories and one-shots that will enhance your understanding of the main books. Because even though the main books have 8 main books planned, they are one continuous story, and the 0.5 chapters are side stories or flashbacks and stuff like that. If you read the side stories and this bonus material, you'll understand the main books more, and I'll drop hints to all these things that happen in the 0.5 chapters. And I'm really proud of how this book is turning out, so I definitely hope you guys will give it a chance. It is it's drawn by Michael Rushbrook. This is the first time I'm writing something and someone else is drawing it, so this has been very exciting, but I could not have asked for a better artist. And Michael is right in the chat. He's there. Oh my gosh, Michael did an amazing job. So all the art you're seeing here is actually by him. I did color this cover, and I did like this secondary cover. There's only 2 covers on this campaign. We're keeping it simple. But the interiors, these are all drawn by Michael, and he did a banger job, and it's being colored by Jake Hyper Wizard. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he's also doing an amazing job. He just sent me some more color roughs to look at. It looks so good, you guys, but it's 25 pages, so I don't want to post too much art. Like, people have been asking for more art. I'm gonna spoil things. I can't post more
Yeah,
spoilers.
buy the
Just
book,
post it.
get more art.
Yeah. It's like I can't, when I have the main books are, so like with Fiendish 1 and 2, they're like all each over 50 pages. I can post like 5 pages on the campaign page if it's out of 50 pages, but this book is 25 pages, but it's a lot of material. Trust me, it's quite a bit of meat. We cover several years over in just 25 pages. So yeah, just the art is turning out really awesome. And all that's left is to color it, because the inks have been done for months, because Michael was inking this while I was working on chapter 2. So all of that is done. We just have to finish coloring it, and I'm actually lettering it as we speak. So I'm going to have the letters done really quickly. And all we have to do is make sure the colors get done in February. We're going to go to print in February, and I'm aiming to get fulfillment done by April. That's the schedule. So quick turnaround, very book focused campaign. And I really hope you guys enjoy this. And also, Fun My Comic has been a very interesting experience, and I'm really grateful for how responsive they have been. And real quick, I just put the stretch goals up too. If you guys haven't noticed, I've scrolled all the way down. Here we go. So our stretch goals are now up. The first trading card is now unlocked because we just hit 25,000. So everybody gets one trading card for free. All backers get it. And you guys know how I do it with trading cards. I have my D&D and Pathfinder stats on the back of my trading cards. So that'll be a nice little surprise. And I have like 2 or 3 more trading cards planned because I have a designated trading card artist. But it depends on if we can hit those stretch goals. I don't know if we can hit these stretch goals, because I know it's a one shot. It's not part of the main series, but I'm telling you guys, you won't regret getting this book. Hoping we can hit all these stretch goals, and the next one will be a free bookmark for all backers. I actually have a really cool idea planned. There's an item in the story that I'll turn into a bookmark, so it won't just be a bookmark with like a drawing on it. It'll be like a whole custom thing. I have ideas, guys. And then you get the 30,000 one is what I think people are excited about. That'll be a print of this Ragna and Casimir piece on the top left here. And I have heard that this piece is popular. So if you want to see this colored and as a free print for all backers and help us get to 30,000, share this campaign out and back it now if you have been thinking of it but haven't done so yet. And thank you so much. Also check out my website, comic.com. I have a lot of like cool stuff on here. You guys are great. Thank you.
I think you should use that quote that you just said as a t-shirt. I have ideas, guys.
I have ideas, guys. I should. I think
wouldn't that be a great shirt?
That would be. I think I have a lot of t-shirt ideas, a lot of missed out marketing opportunities floating around here, but I definitely I should use that. I have ideas. Back it now. Your bookshelf is asking for this book. I'll have it all on my bookshelf tomorrow.
I have ideas, guys. That's completely open to interpretation.
Oh my gosh, this is very reading. What does that mean? Oh, right. Magna knows what she's doing. Yes. Mortal V, thank you for the links. Right, everything Mortal V says is totally true, guys. Definitely believe that. Make AC work. Yep, I definitely will. Help me hit those stretch goals so I can make, so I can hire more people and pay them money. Thank you for the links, everybody. All right. Really appreciate all of you for being here today, and definitely appreciate you, Gary, for joining me. This has been such a long conversation. It's been like over 2 hours, but I had a lot of fun. I want to talk more about inking and more about comics. I hope you're open to coming back.
Absolutely. Someday. Yeah, I love this, talking about this stuff, and I appreciate the chat. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for those who intend to back the book when I straighten out those issues.
Yes, everyone go follow Gary. You're G Martin Inks, right?
Yes.
On Twitter.
On Twitter, yep.
G Martin Inks. All right, I'm sure my wonderful mods have the link ready to go, but I will post it as well. So follow. Everyone can follow.
I've only been on Twitter for about a year. Like I say, when I started with CG, that's when I opened my Twitter
Oh.
account.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you're better off that way. The internet, and especially Twitter, is just like, yeah, you don't. It's okay if you're not on Twitter that much. So absolute hole of insanity. But there you go, and I'm sure you'll tweet it out when the campaign or when the book tier is back up and functioning, right? And then everyone can go and check that out. All right. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a creative block. It's on Phil's channel. I think we're just going to do a chill show, probably with a guest, so don't miss out on that. And I think my show with Allie is back this Friday. We've both been in kind of turmoil, and we missed a few weeks because of holidays and all this kind of stuff. But I'm straining for the next 2 days. I'm keeping busy. So, and I think that'll be on my channel. So come back to my channel on Friday for my show with Allie. Tomorrow, creative blog is on Phil's channel, and then next week I will have another episode of HELLION Art Show. I have shows planned for pretty much the rest of December, and let me see, who do I have on? I have Von Klaus on next week, so come on next week for Von Klaus. We're going to be talking about Kitaru. This should be fun. Hell yeah. All right, I know you guys are going to look forward to that. Thank you. Oh, one more super chat. Oh my gosh, you almost cut it out, almost ended the stream. Master Lance for 20. Thank you so much. God Phoenix 1 and 2. I love it. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. Oh, it's great. Oh, it's
I mean, how great is that? He's paying you money to tell you that he likes your work.
I mean, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Buying it is the affirmation, but to buy it and then give you money to tell you that he liked it. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I thoroughly do appreciate that. I definitely realize that is some dedication. I am glad you enjoyed the book, and I hope you will give 2.5 a chance, and I hope you enjoy 3 just as much. I'll keep on doing my best. Thank you so much. Yay. All right, everyone. I'll see you next time. Definitely come back next week for my show with Von Klaus, and I hope you all have a good night. Thank you again, Gary. This was awesome. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.